Hello and welcome back to Life on the Wrist. Today we're going to be jumping into 5 new pieces that we've got in that are part of sort of the tradition that we have on our YouTube channel, where we discuss 5 pieces that we've got in, and then we do individual videos for each of the pieces to go a little bit more in depth into them specifically. But today is just going to be a quick overview of the 5 pieces, give you an idea of what they look like, their history, the qualities of the pieces, the eras that they were manufactured in, and hopefully this is sort of a teaser for the videos that we'll be producing over the next several weeks, where we'll go a little bit more in depth into each of the individual pieces, the history of the references, their movements, case manufacturing. We've got a military piece in, so there's going to be a military component there. So without further ado, let's get into these 5 pieces. Alright, so 5 pieces we're going to jump into. You can see they really do range in design, in aesthetics, and obviously era, and so really excited to jump into these. As I mentioned in the intro, this is really just going to be a quick overview of the pieces, and then we will dive into them in depth for individual videos. So we'll start off with the watch on the extreme left here. This is once it focuses for you here, this is a Girard Perregaux Seahawk reference 7901. The Seahawk from Girard Perregaux is one of the classics, similar to what a Seamaster or a DateJust are for collectors. This Girard Perregaux was manufactured in the 1960s. The watch has a stainless steel case that's in good overall condition. It's a 34mm case. There are signs of age with some scratches throughout the watch. The bottom right lug that you can probably see, there is a larger scratch, so it's worth calling that out. The watch features rectangular lugs that are long and extend flatly from the case, as you can see from sort of the side profile here. The watch has an unsigned crown, so no Girard Perregaux signature on the crown. But I believe the 7901 didn't have signed crowns, but if someone knows differently, let me know in the comments section below. The white dial really is where a lot of the, I think, the interesting features of this watch is. The white dial has a really beautiful light hue of patina with large applied hour markers, and the watch runs on the caliber GP12.4 manual wind movement. A really nice example of a vintage stainless steel piece, time only. Moving to the next piece we have here, this is a piece from Omega. Let me have to get the focus on each of these pieces, it's just kind of frustrating. There we go. So, quintessential Omega, this is the best way to really sum up this Omega Genève. The watch was manufactured in 1976. It's the reference at 166.002. The watch has a gold-filled case that is in good condition. There is some oxidation that you can see on the right-hand side of this case that gives it a nice red hue. The lugs are short and angled towards the wrist. If you compare it to the Girard Perregaux we just covered, they're a little bit shorter and angle a little bit steeper towards the wrist. The watch has an unsigned crown, so with this version, Omega typically had signed crowns. This is likely a replacement from the original. The watch has a white sunburst dial that has some really cool moisture freckles on them, and the dial has applied hour markers, Omega logo, and a date window at 3 o'clock. The watch runs on the Omega caliber 565 movement that has a really cool quick set date complication. A really nice example from Omega. Moving on to another stainless steel piece. This time we're looking at a piece from Universal Genève. Get the focus here on the dial. This is a time-only reference 21222 based on the case back where you can see the, probably can't see very clearly, but there you can see the serial and the reference number. Universal Genève is a company that true watch enthusiasts love to see, research, and own. This Universal Genève was manufactured in 1940. The watch has a stainless steel case that's in very good condition. The watch has very few signs of polishing, but does have signs of wear, as to be expected with a watch that was worn and loved from the 1940s. I don't know if you can see this, but if you look at the lugs, if you look at this bottom left lug, you can see that you can still see the facets. There's 3 facets on this lug, and I think that's a really great indication that there's very, very little signs of polishing. Each of the lugs is in really great condition. The lugs are long and sharp with 3 angles of polish still visible. The watch has an unsigned crown, as you can see here. Likely a replacement from the original because, as you can see, it has a gold tone as opposed to being a stainless steel toned piece. The watch has a white dial with really, really beautiful patina to it. You can see it's aged really, really nicely, as well as the luminescent material on the hour markers. The outside of the watch has hour markers and a seconds track around the outside of the dial. The blued hands are likely replaced or have been reloomed due to the color of the loom being different from the dial. You can see that what you would want to see is essentially the luminescent material on the inside of this watch of the hour hands should match the tone that you see on the hour markers, and you can see there's quite a bit of contrast. So either they are replacements or the hour hands have been reloomed. The watch runs on the famous caliber 263 movement, and honestly, this watch is such a pleasure to wear on the wrist. It's an incredible stainless steel piece from the 1940s, and really, for a 1940s piece, it's actually quite large at 34 millimeters. Alright, as we continue, we're going to move over to this really, really, really cool Bulova. Military watches are some of the best watches to collect because of their histories and easily tracked provenance. The Bulova MIL-W 3818A was produced for general purpose use for the US Army, Navy, and Air Force. The watch was manufactured in 1962, the specific one, based on the M2 marking on the movement of this piece. The watch has a stainless steel case in excellent condition with little to no polishing. If you look at the lugs of this piece, you can still see the brush finishing, and the lugs are really, really thick. Let me get a good focus here for you on the lugs. The lugs are really, really thick, really, really sharp, and long, and make the 32 millimeter watch wear quite large. The watch has a, as you can see, large unsigned crown, which is how these pieces were originally delivered. The watch has an incredible black dial with printed text, and you can see the luminescent material has aged really beautifully. It also has a 24-hour display of time. You can see 1 through 12 on the outside of the watch, and then 13 to 24 on the inside of the watch, inside track of the watch. The watch has cathedral hands with loom that has aged nicely and match the hour indicators, making me believe that they are original to this watch. The watch runs on the caliber 10 BN/CH manual wind movement, and really the biggest thing is when you look at the case back of this piece, you can see the military inscriptions, you basically see the stock number, you see the serial number, and additional information that indicates military provenance for this piece. A really, really cool military watch, and an absolutely a pleasure to wear on the wrist, I have to admit. It's 32 millimeters, it really doesn't feel that way when you have it on the wrist. The last piece that we have here is a watch from Rolex. This is a Rolex Oyster Perpetual reference 6549. Let me just move the hands for you so you can see the dial of this piece. So the Oyster Perpetual is definitely one of the most iconic, important, and influential models Rolex ever produced. This Rolex was manufactured in 1958. The watch has a stainless steel case that's in good overall condition with signs of wear and polishing. You'll see, if you look at the profile here, you can see there are some, signs of polishing, and the lugs are probably not as, sharp as other original pieces or when this watch was originally manufactured, but still a really, really nice example. The watch has a really attractive engine turn bezel. The lugs show signs of polishing, and if we look at the side here, you can see that the watch does have a Rolex signed crown. It also has this really nice riveted bracelet that is in good overall condition, but is a little bit stretched. What's really an attractive quality of this specific piece is that the white dial has patinaed over time to this really nice sort of warm hue that you see, and for me, I think makes this Oyster Perpetual kind of stand out, given its nice patina on the dial. The watch has applied hour markers, Rolex logo, and name, and the watch runs on the caliber 1161 movement. It's a 30 millimeter piece, so for some, maybe a little bit small, but for others who want to be a little bit more adventurous, a really nice example from Rolex of what an Oyster Perpetual was in 1958. So those are the pieces that we are going to be covering over the next several weeks. I'm excited to jump into every single one of these with you, and I hope this gave you a little bit, of an understanding of what we're going to be talking about over the next several weeks and gets you excited for the videos to come. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at these 5 watches. As I mentioned in the intro as well as during the video, this is just sort of an overview of the pieces. Hopefully gives you an idea of what we're going to be working with over the next several weeks. We will have in-depth videos for each of the pieces where we jump into the history of the brands, the references, the models, and then their movements. So I'm very excited to jump into them with you, so stay tuned for our videos to come over the next several weeks. As always, there will be an article for each of the videos that we do on the Life on the Wrist YouTube channel, so be sure to head over to lifeonthewrist.com and go to the editorial section of our website if you want to see those articles. If you are new to Life on the Wrist, be sure to subscribe to the channel and be sure to share this video with a friend who might be interested in watches. If you are feeling generous, be sure to like this video, it really does help me out, and let me know in the comment section below which of these pieces I should cover first. I do want to make sure that you can see these pieces in the middle as soon as possible. With that said, guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and until next time.